It seems like ChatGPT is all anyone can talk about right now.
ChatGPT.
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 But despite all of the hype, there are some very real concerns.
People are predicting it will wipe out whole industries.
Attorneys, realtors, are we going to be out of a job?
And one of the biggest concerns, academic cheating.
Students could use it to plagiarize their essays.
So I had to start playing with it. And I thought, this thing is pretty dang good. It reads like something that maybe I would have written in high school. So I had an idea. What if we called up my favorite high school teacher and put him to the test? We designed an experiment to see whether or not he could spot an AI cheater. How confident are you that you've picked the cheaters out of the bunch?
On the front end, I would have probably said I would have had a confidence level of probably a 9. I feel like, I've just bet on the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Not feeling that great,
I wanted to reach out to Toppich because, well, he was my favorite teacher in high school.
Those were the good old days, when we didn't have to worry about technology, ruining the human condition. So.
But beyond Toppich being my favorite, I also thought he's perfect for this experiment. His students are juniors, they're all in AP classes, and they're really strong writers.
This is something I know the students are talking about. It's something faculty are talking about. I think it's opening some doors to dangerous terrain, I think, for educators.
So here's what we came up with. We'd take 9 of his students in AP Comparative Politics. Toppich would assign them a 2 to 3 page take-home essay. I'd choose some of them to cheat, but Toppich wouldn't know how many students were cheating. The students would then submit their responses to me so I could remove all their names and format them all identically. Then, Toppich would grade all the essays, and we'd all get together to see whether or not he could spot the AI cheaters.
I'm going in relatively confident that I'll be able to pick the students out.
All right, let's meet our contestants on to spot a cheater. How many of you have heard of ChatGPT?
We've all heard of it, and probably all of us have used it at some point. I think a lot of us have been exposed to it through social media and kind of its rise, especially through TikTok and stuff.
Do you think of ChatGPT as cheating?
I feel like it is cheating because it's defeating the purpose of the assignment, which is to strengthen you as a student, especially if it's your writing skill.
I think it also just comes down to your morals and how would you feel getting a really good grade on a paper. It's that you didn't actually write it.
I've used it once, and I'm being completely honest, only once in my life. But after that, I felt pretty guilty.
I think it's cheating.
Yeah.
It's using a calculator to create an English paper.
It should only be complimenting your work.
Are there those of you that want to be in the cheater subset? Oh wow, everybody wants to cheat on it. So this is the assignment. The students are writing a 2 to 3 page response to a foreign affairs article about combating Chinese economic coercion. They'd have 24 hours to complete the assignment and turn it into me. I assigned 4 cheaters out of the 9 students. Nico and Galen would prompt ChatGPT and copy-paste whatever it returned. They could reprompt it to improve the answer, but they couldn't edit the results themselves. Allie was allowed to copy-edit the response, put it in her own words a little bit, but the majority of the response was still ChatGPT. Ashal, on the other hand, would use ChatGPT to formulate the answer, but then could paraphrase or reword everything. The heart of the paper is still a cheat, but in Ashal's words. I really want the one that is fully rewritten to stump him. I really want to get it by him real bad. It would really make me happy if we stump him on one of these.
I got you.
Okay, I believe in you. How confident are you that you've picked the cheaters out of the bunch?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably at about a 3.
Wow, that low, huh?
Yes.
That's very surprising.
On the front end, I would have probably said I would have had a confidence level of probably a 9. But yeah, I'm not feeling that great.
All right, let's get into it. How did Toppich do?
The grades on these essays were across the board probably, higher than usual. Essay 1 was really well constructed, would have been in the high A range. This was generated by a student, I believe. I don't think there was any help in the technology realm for SA1.
So SA1 was Lakes, and he was in the control group. So that is a fully student written.
SA2 is probably the most uncertain of all 9. This would have been also probably in the mid-A range, but I tend to think it probably was student-generated, but there was just a couple things that made me a bit paranoid about this.
Ashal was allowed to completely rewrite hers. We got him.
I got you.
SA3, I believe, was student-generated. It was in the B+, A- range. SA4, I believe this is student-generated, and it's a solid A essay, probably in the mid-A range. SA5 is well written, probably in the high A range, and I believe this is student-generated.
SA5 is Nico's and also 100% AI.
SA6 I also had is student-generated. SA7 I believe is also student-generated, and this was a low A essay, but I had it down with a question mark, but I'm going to go ahead, like it's Jeopardy here, I'm going to say student-generated.
That's another miss.
I'm not doing well, Andrew.
It's not looking good, man.
SA8, I believe, is AI generated. There were some issues there with language use. It seemed like it just did not feel like it was one of my students. It seemed to be a little bit different writing style and such, so we'll see whether I'm striking out again, but I think A with AI.
Swing and a miss. That is Anya's, and it was fully student-generated.
It was a rough night.
Wow,
look how much trying to do it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I should have prepared for this a little more.
Well, I'm going to end this this fiasco with SA9, which I have down as a high B, low A essay, and this is the one I feel most confident is AI generated.
Number 9 is not AI generated. It's a control. That's Jana's, yeah. Yikes. Final score, Toppage 3, ChatGPT 6.
I think I'm just mainly surprised by topics and how, like, no offense, like, I actually thought you would get some of them, but, like, it just shows, like, it ended up, like, it shows how strong ChatGPT really is.
I mean, I think it changed my mind because, like, I low-key read Nico's and I was like, this is definitely gonna get caught. Like, I don't know. I think it's because I knew it was written. So, like, I went back and I was like, you need to edit some things to, like, make it a little bit better. But, like, the grade, I was kind of surprised by the grade topic you gave.
One thing I did do, like, when I researched how to make it stronger is I gave it, I made it read one of my last papers to, like, indicate my style and tone. And then I said to, like, implement that into when it wrote that paper. So I think that could have, like, been a little bit.
That's next level, man. I'm impressed.
And honestly, I wouldn't want this to be my life where I'm second guessing whether this is being used. I think I was definitely overthinking it. I think in helping to locate sources and to utilize sources in the literature review, absolutely, I would be all for that.
The maker of ChatGPT, this company called OpenAI, they have released an AI fighting tool basically to help educators spot AI generated text. Could you see something like that being useful and or necessary to combat the rise of things like this?
The user is going to stay one step ahead in most cases. So I would argue that I think the companies are always going to be at a disadvantage. I think the students and people wanting to abuse the system will ultimately stay ahead of the game. I would jokingly say that if the students spend as much time just writing the essay as opposed to trying to find ways to manipulate technology to get the assistance that they need, we would be in a much better place educationally.